Hello, this is Scott Loomis with Tech for Learning, and this is my Using Wixie in Primary Grades overview. As it says on the page, this presentation or overview will review using Wixie. And again, we're not talking in a one-to-one capacity. Primary grades don't always have the luxury of having one device per child, and teachers, should definitely not use as an excuse not to use technology. But using Wixie when a handful of devices are available, one device, two devices, 5 devices, whatever that may be. And this is going to work fluidly during established center station time. And I also think the opportunity to use it, even one device, the teacher's device, but a way to capture students, speaking audio recordings basically as an assessment artifact, something you can easily share with parents or at a team meeting, a 504 or something like that, depending on that child's needs. And again, there's nothing quite like having that artifact of the child's voice compared to your anecdotal observation. So rich opportunities within that. And I want to start by looking at the home icon and looking at what's available within Wixie. So of course we can grab templates for different places, but the templates folder has a lot of ready to go center templates, things that are kind of easy. Sort and sequence, possibly some creation activities as well, which are my favorites. I'm going to first look in the month by month folder, and of course there's 12 folders. Surprise, surprise. I look in March, for instance, and I can see or do see there's always some type of holiday themed extension, pattern extension. Very simple, might even work as just an engagement or drill, so to speak, with thumbs up and thumbs down. That students can do as the teacher shows this on a computer projection device type environment instead of kids rotating for this. The teacher may decide to customize and duplicate this page and actually have them extend 6 or 8 or however many patterns they want because they continue to use this page and the cloned stickers from the bottom, but they basically expand the assessment to include more than just two pattern extensions. When I return to the templates, I also see, and again this is a little bit more involved, but again this is something students could rotate to 4 machines or 4 computers during center time. And this is in conjunction with Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham. Whether the teacher reads the book or they go and listen to it, which is here in the instructions, there's a hyperlink embedded, the students are basically extending the book. It's like adding another page to Spilt Milk or other books along that line. We're there duplicating the repetitive nature of the text and then adding a picture. So they can use their finger with the pencil tool, which would be under the paint options, and of course paint it, or the teacher may prefer just to have them record their voice reading the phrases without the words. If the eye-hand coordination isn't quite there yet, and we're looking at small kids, kindergarten, it could be that a parent or teacher, especially a parent helper, helps them write these words, but then the student does record themselves reading it and then draws the picture on their own. Now, if you don't look at the holiday template as far as the month by month goes, you will find more patterns under math. You go into algebra, for instance, and you'll see a huge photo section, not a huge section, but a sizable section on patterns. Again, many of them have some type of theme with the holidays, but here's animals and necklace patterns and number patterns, for instance. So those are there under the math folder, while when you go to language arts, I'm going to reading and alphabetic principle, you have a number of templates here, and I look at starts with. And again, currently, when you are examining one of our templates within Tech for Learning, within Wixie, you only have 2 options. I mean, you can go through pages if there's more than one page of the template, but you can assign it as is or customize it, or even just explore it on your own. So in order to explore it, you got to customize it. And again, if I wanted to, like with the pattern example, make multiple pages, basically duplicating pages, I'm now able to do so because I'm customizing it. And I would, of course, assign the customized version of this template from my projects instead of the blank one from the templates folder, which you can't modify. So again, looks like they're just clicking and dragging. Directions are here. When I click on different things, here is a sticker, for instance, and I'm not sure as a child what this is. Heck, it kind of looks like a dolphin maybe. So the wonderful thing about Wixie is not only can the text be read, but so can the images. So all clip art or stickers has the opportunity to be read.
Humpback whale.
Humpback whale. Okay, whale. All right, what do we got here?
Cheese.
What is that?
Wheel.
Wheel. I bet you that's a sheep. I'm just saying.
Sheep.
All right, so of course the kids are going to click and drag things to the right folder. And what I wanted to point out is the program does not provide instant feedback. A lot of research suggests that kids don't even read directions. They just start click and drag until it sticks. So again, you're going to have to do some type of assessment, usually just an eyeball of are the stickers in the right place. And maybe after they're done, you walk over, as you would with other different centers, and basically have the kids point at each sticker and read what it says, so they know that this is chicken, this is shoes, for instance. And this way, if some kid surprisingly picks something, says a word that you don't really think, for instance, they don't say chips, maybe they leave it down there because they say it's a bag. Then at least you know that even though bag was left down here, it doesn't belong in these 5. It's totally right. They just need to be corrected that actually it's a chips. So let's look to put it in the right spot. So spending a few seconds even getting the kids to explain why things are where they are and even saying the words can be very valuable from just a right or wrong opportunity. So there are many different center opportunities with these, and again, they can be expanded. So again, that was month by month. You can go into the math folders and into the language arts for alphabetic principle, as well as different sections. Next thing I want to do, I'm actually going to go ahead and open up a new Wixie project just to point out some of the tools that work well as assessments or just opportunities to record their knowledge. So let's say, for instance, as it is with kindergarten, kids are, or even pre-K, kids are asked to count from 1 to 20. And you go ahead and have the child do so. They're sitting beside you. And lo and behold, they don't make it. They bomb, so to speak, in the, and I know there's only 1 to 10 here. That's what I'm going to do. They bomb, so to speak, in like the teens. So on the progress report card, you put a need improvement in this section, and mom and dad say, what do you mean my child can't count to 20? They count to 100 at home. And the wonderful, or not the wonderful thing, if you leave it at that, there's really no way for you to prove, listen, you'll have to take my word for it, which, I wish the parents would, but we know that isn't always the case. I observed them counting to 20 twice and they were unable to. And again, well, I still say they can count to 100 at home. Again, what's wonderful about each page within Wixie is you can add an audio recording, and this recording can last up to 5 minutes. So basically, parent helper again, or anybody else in the building, maybe you have a resource teacher, they're able to come in, pull a child over, and basically say, okay, Timmy, all you need to do is count to 10. I'm going to press record, which gives you 3 seconds to go, and then I'll point at you, and you start talking. So go ahead, Timmy. So Timmy counts to 10 or to 20 or whatever it is, and there's your artifact. This could also be a lengthy paragraph. So you type in whatever you want to type, the quick brown. Actually, you guys don't need to see my typing skills, although I'm still going to type a little more. Basically, you type in a paragraph, and it could be, 100 words or whatnot. You bring not mom or dad again, parent helper, an aide, whatever you're able to get within the building. You use a record tool, and when a child comes over, the aide basically says, listen, Susie, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to read as far as you can. They go 60 seconds they usually don't make it. I mean, you want to make it so that they don't finish typically in 60 seconds, or maybe, they're that good. That's fantastic. You save the file. You can date it. You can change the title here as well. And what I'd recommend is next month you assign the exact same paragraph, but with a new recording. And the month after that, again, same paragraph, new recording. And now you're walking into like a parent conference meeting. So say you do it like September, October, and early November. You can walk into a fall parent conference meeting with 3 artifacts of their fluency. How quickly can they read? Do we see an improvement, ideally? Or are they still having, trouble adjusting to kindergarten instruction? I don't know. But the great thing is, again, is you have those artifacts. And that's a simple one computer activity. And again, because it requires a little bit of guidance or direction from an adult, that's rather a teacher-led, aide, parent helper, or something along that line. I also like the opportunity for things like retelling or making listening centers, believe it or not. And again, now you're back into the ability to create a template. And I like, for instance, to take pictures with the camera. So, you guys are going to get to see me. Check my hair. All right. At least it's puffy, so the bald spot's covered. But basically, you could even rotate this camera and take a picture of a book. And then you could actually record yourself reading the book. And that's under the teacher recording, which is here at the clipboard. Here's your own 5-minute recording. So this one's a student, this one's a teacher. And when the students open up, they can actually see pictures of the book and listen, and basically can listen to you reading them. But this would lead itself to a last page of the project that's completely blank, where they retell a story. Basically you can read a book to the class on Monday. You let them know that as they cycle to the computer this week, they need to retell a story by drawing a picture and adding one audio recording. Again, typing slows them down, and they're not going to get enough to be meaningful anyways if they type. So have them do the recording, and don't read scripts or don't read notes. Just ramble off the top of the head. And of course, leave a couple copies of the book over by the computers if they need their memory refreshed come Thursday or Friday. And if the child says they don't remember, then that maybe they possibly need it read to them, or maybe even one of their friends can read to them. But at least that gives them an opportunity to, again, something open-ended and kind of that blank canvas mentality demonstrate their knowledge. Another sample that might work, especially with, let's say, second grade, for instance, is you could be reading a book to the whole class. They're sitting there in front of the carpet. They're engaged in your story. They're going along. You're flipping page after page, and you get to spot in the story where the character is about to make a major decision. You close the book, you look at the kids quizzically, and say, what do you think she's going to do? You have 10 minutes to draw a picture and add an audio recording of your prediction, but you must use evidence from the first half of the story that I just read to support why you think what you think. And of course, the evidence, that's a former 5th grade teacher talking here. I don't know necessarily what you'd say for first grade or kindergarten or second grade, but you would basically have to have them justify their prediction. And again, this really gets you a clear indication of, do they understand the story, and again, the potential decisions that could occur because of what's been read, what's already happened. Now, this may be something that you'd rather do it the whole time. And what I hear a lot of time is teachers say, I have 6 devices in my room and I can't do anything. And I understand that it's going to require some extra management, but if I'm teaching second grade and I want to do this activity and I work with 2 other teachers, and maybe I only work with 1 other teacher and I got 22 kids, go grab, probably with permission, but if not, just sneak in when they're not there and take the devices. Borrow the devices from your colleague or colleagues so that you get maybe a 2-to-1. And 2 kids do it together, because now you're dealing with a little bit of cooperation, and of course they're doing it together, and they're both adding to the prediction justify recording together. And it's an easy activity to do. That's 10 minutes. And again, that's an opportunity not necessarily for 1-to-1, but for common use or dual use of a device by 2 children. And if it has to be a center, it could be a center. But I think that would almost work great by not only having them make the prediction, but then having some kids or partners share with other partners, get a couple common responses from the group, read the rest of the story, have them make quick predictions with their buddies and with their friends around them. Were they right or wrong, and what were they surprised by, and then again reflect on that a little bit. So that's a single lesson, a 50-minute lesson with the reading, the conversations, the creation of the template or the project, and then the kind of, again, reflection on the end of the story and if they were right or wrong. Okay. The next thing I need to talk about is the ability to do or to take our templates and use them as stepping stones to something more sophisticated. And I'm going to go back into my files, and I'm going to go into math, and I'm going to open up this Math Monster sample. Now, this template was done a number of years ago, done so long ago that the standards for geometry were usually just identifying shapes. And now we see, I'm going to pull in this other tab here from outside my page. Now we see when we look at the different Common Core standards that with like geometry, with the kindergarten group, we see the ability to analyze and compare, and it says to create as well, 3D shapes based on number of sides, model shapes in the world by building shapes from components, in this case technology, not clay or clay balls or sticks, and compose simple shapes. For example, can you join? That's actually combining them to make a rectangle. But there is language there for them creating different types of geometric 2-dimensional shapes. And if we look down, for instance, at first grade, we also see something again with distinguish between attributes, compose 2-dimensional shapes. That's the one I was looking for right there. Geometry 1G, first grade. Geometry 2, for instance, under that section. So what I would like to do then, and I'm going to go back to Wixie, is I took this month-by-month template, and again, this isn't the template I would use, but I would use something or generate something very close to it. Obviously, you can see the kids have already done this a little bit. This is my sample. And the kids have clicked and dragged the words to the right spots. And as you see, I've done a lot of them wrong on purpose, just to, again, demonstrate that there's no instant feedback. And again, just like the stickers, the program will read text objects. So you have a text-to-speech as well. And I haven't even scratched the surface on the ESOP potentials as far as, again, getting the kids to share their knowledge any way they can, ideally in English, but students who are so hindered by the lack of their ability to type or write, but still have information to share. So that's a great opportunity there as well. So the teacher transitions by saying, I'm going to let students create monsters today. Again, maybe you've borrowed and you have one-to-one, maybe partners, or again, as centers. We're going to make monsters this week in the centers. And your monsters can look any way they want. However, they must have these geometric shapes. And this is a checklist for the students to kind of self-assess or complete on their own. Now, I told you this is a little archaic. In fact, the samples I'm showing are from my daughters when they were in elementary school. And it's been 10 years, to be honest, since it was done. So these are not only basic, but so are the extra credit, because we differentiate all the time for early finishers. And I'm not pointing fingers because I did this as well, but telling kids to go to a website and keep busy or go help a friend or just make another monster, that's really not differentiating for early finishers. So I love checklists because you can always do this, division, say extra credit. So these should be much more language oriented. And although I encourage the use of shapes, maybe the students are just using, under the shapes tool here, instead of drawing with circles and squares and stuff, maybe they're just using the line tool and making lines to show, triangles, for instance, or things like that. So they can use the shapes or maybe use the line tool if you want them to compose it from scratch. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So the kids all had 15 minutes to go draw a monster based on these shapes, and they would toggle between page 3, which would be blank, and page 2, and they would check off these components on their own. So they all went and had 15 minutes, and I'm just, pausing for dramatic effect. There we go. And as I often joke, this is my daughter's. If you're not oohing and awing, then, just shame on you because she's brilliant. And you can see and this is the one in college, she went ahead and created her monster. There's like a clown. I don't know, I haven't had to worry about clown therapy, but there's a little bit of what looks to me like a clown theme here with this scary monster. But she has geometric shapes. What I love about this, and this is rigor. This is 21st century. Why are we even saying 21st century? I mean, we're 20 years in here. So this is just how instruction should be this day. There is no other monster like this in the class. Rigor is not 22 turkeys that are taped to the hallway that all look the same on the wall in the hallway. Because the kids did exactly what you told them, or they copied off their neighbor, or you did it for them, or a parent did it for them. Creativity is blank canvas, show me what you know type mentality based on my expectations. So the time her sister Jamie was in first grade, and she was really bummed out because Daddy had not volunteered yet in her classroom. And for a while, especially when my daughter's younger, I made a great volunteer when it came to using technology. So she and I made one after school, and this was her project. Again, she's amazing. And at the time, we went through the checklist, and she only had 2 triangles, these 2 eyes. And I said, Jamie, your triangle's short. It says you need to make 3. And she thinks about it for a minute, and she ends up creating a triangle sun. Now, how many of you have seen a triangle sun before? Go ahead and raise your hand. And how many of you know it doesn't matter? As I often say, let kids color outside the lines. Let them put fish for fingers on their monster. Again, when using the devices in centers, or if you're able to collect from other teachers, have the kids demonstrate what you expect from them and establish 2 clear things. This is what I expect from you as far as my content expectations, and this is how much time you have. Barring technical difficulties, when I hear teachers say they run over, it took way too long, Wixie is a very efficient program. And if it's taking too long, it's because the kids are playing with the program instead of producing something. So they're not on task. They're playing with the tools or using the smudge to mess things up. I mean, Wixie is designed to be that differentiate by product type tool. Lose the worksheet from the curriculum guide, keep the lesson objective, but have them demonstrate their knowledge in Wixie instead. And again, if they're producing, they can do it in 10 or 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be a grandiose problem compared to, again, just playing with the program and undoing everything because they want to start over. Set the time frame and kind of move with it. So I hope this overview provided some sort of idea as to what can be done with Wixie during centers and stations, as well as an assessment tool for your primary grades. I wish you the best of luck, and let me, as I always like to do, pull up my contact information. Should you have any questions or would like some student samples or access to resources, if you even say I saw your video, Scott, and I would love links to some teacher resources or ideas for first grade, I'd be happy to give them to you. I was going to highlight my name, but there it is. And of course, I retweet a lot of what teachers do in my area, which is Maryland and Virginia. So if you basically want to follow me so you can get those ideas from other teachers as they're occurring, so you could be teaching the same unit as the one they just posted about, please follow me there. All right, take care, everyone, and enjoy.